Ordinary meeting of Council, Wednesday, 5th of March 2025. If I could ask Councillor Bingham if you could open up with the meeting and the prayer, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Almighty God, be with us as we work for the people of the Shire of Mirrabel. Grant us wisdom that we may care for the Shire as true stewards of your creation. May we be aware of the great responsibilities placed upon us. Help us to be just in all our dealings, and may our work prosper for the good of all. Amen.
Thank you. Amen. Now, if we could ask Councillor Minari, could you please do the acknowledgement of country, please?
Thank you. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today.
Thank you, Councillor Minari. So, in accordance with Mirrabel Shire's Council's governance rules, the Council will be recording this meeting. The following organisations have also been granted permission to make an audio recording, and that would be the Mirrabel News and the Star Weekly. So, we'll go to those present. All are present. We have no apologies. Could we have someone confirm the minutes from the last meeting, please? Thank you, Councillor Minari. Thank you, Councillor Keogh. Seconded. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. At this point in time, if I could ask councillors to disclose any conflicts of interest of anything that's on the paper tonight. Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have a conflict of interest on item 17.1.
Right. Could you please just let us know when that item comes up so we can get you to vacate the room, please, Councillor Berry.
Certainly.
Righto. We'll move straight into public question time. And tonight we have, I think, is this just a written one or have we got Felicity here? Yes. G'day, Felicity. How are you? So we have Felicity Ashman of the Strawberries and Cherries Festival. If you'd like to come up to the front there, push the green button. And you've got 3 minutes to, which I think you should be able to do relatively comfortably. Sorry. Go.
Through you, Chair. The question is actually to be read by Henry. It's in 2 parts. Question 1 will be answered by Henry and the second part by Lee.
So you didn't register to speak, is that right, Felicity? Or?
No, I didn't realise that you needed to.
So I'm sorry, it'll be read then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll read a question. The question is from Felicity Ashman for the Strawberry and Cherry Festival. The question is, would Council consider waiving fees for the place of public entertainment, Pope, for the Bachasma Strawberry and Cherries Festival as a demonstration of support for this event, which is free to the public and serves a significant community celebration? In response, the fees associated with the place of entertainment permit assist with the cost of administrating the application process, which includes assessment of documents, liaising with organisations and external stakeholders, including Victoria Police, Ambulance Victoria, Country Fire Authority and Fire Rescue Victoria, etc., and inspecting the event. It is suggested that the event holder contact Council's Building Services team to discuss the waiving fee based on its merit.
Yeah, as Felicity's not registered to speak, we can't ask her any questions, so we'll move straight on to the second question.
Through the Chair, I'll be responding to the second question.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you. The second question is also from Felicity Ashman, relates to the booking of the Baxmarsh Public Hall for the Strawberry and Cherry Festival. The question is, can you please explain why we are being charged the full commercial rate despite the event's non-profit status and its significant community benefit? The response is, the Baxmarsh Public Hall is managed by a delegated committee of council. Officers will discuss the question raised with the Community Asset Committee and respond directly to Ms Ashman.
Thank you, Lee. And as noted before, sorry, Felicity, but because you weren't registered to speak, we can't ask any questions.
Yeah,
so.
I did actually ask the question.
No, I'm sorry. If you were registered to speak, we could talk about it, but I'm sorry. Okay. That's part of the process. Thank you. If you turn that light off, please, it'd be great. Thank you. Righto, we'll move on to petitions. Do we have any petitions tonight? No? Okay, pass that. Presentations and deputations, nil. Chief Executive Officer reports. We'll move on to the business paper 11.1, 2021 to 25, Marlborough Shire Council Plan, progress report, second quarter, October to December of 2024. Councillors, there's a recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Ward.
I'm happy to move with a question, if I may, Mr Mayor.
Indeed, thank you.
On page 9, it mentions of the 37 actions identified to be achieved in Year 4, reporting for this period indicates that 6 actions have been completed, and they were listed below, and one of them was the completed construction of the regional bowls facility. My question is that a misprint or a mistake?
Who'd like Mr CEO, sir?
Through the chair, it's a misprint.
Misprint? Misprint, yes. So move, Councillor Ward. Do you have any other questions? No. Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Is there any, Councillor Berry, do we have any dissent? Those in favour? Oh, sorry, Councillor Sullivan. Well, no, you can... Well, we haven't finished. If you have a question.
Well, I'll just let you do it and ask the question.
Righto. Those in favour? So carried. Councillor Sullivan, you have a question?
To investigate opportunities to support volunteerism, and it sort of hasn't, there's been some issues. Could we actually be a bit more proactive in that space, please?
Question?
Oh, question, comment, whatever, yeah. Just a comment. Yeah. Thank you.
I think we'll just take it as a comment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Righto, we'll move on to 11.2, 2017 to 2021 Marlborough Shire Council Plan. Outstanding Actions Progress Report, Quarter 2, October to December of 2024. Councillors, there's a recommendation on the paper. Any questions? Councillor Sullivan moved by. Seconded by Councillor Keogh. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Right, we'll move on to 11.3, the CEO annual leave. Could I have someone move that? Councillor Keogh, thank you. Councillor Minari, seconded. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Thank you. Item 12.1, as we move into community planning and development reports, is the Marlborough Heritage Advisory Committee appointing of a new committee. Councillor, I was going to say Councillor Wood, this is probably one for you. Moved by Councillor Wood. Do we have a second? Councillor Berry. Any dissent or questions? Is there any questions on that? Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Community strengthening reports we'll move into, and we'll move into item 13.1, Community Asset Committees reports. Any question? Councillor Minari, a question or a...
I'll move it with a question. I'll move it with a question.
Thank you.
And I sort of am aware that officers will probably take this on notice, so that's fine. Just wondering when the last time Gordon Hall submitted some minutes.
Through the chair, I will need to take that question on notice and come back to Councillor Minari.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with the recommendations moved by Councillor Minari, do we have a seconder? Councillor Berry, do we have any other questions? Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Oh, no. We'll move on to item 13.2. This is a response to a notice of motion number 316, need for increased capacity of the Bacchus Marsh men's shed. I assume Councillor Ward moved this. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Berry, was there any questions? Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried.
Mr Mayor, can I just also commend Officer Kirkwood on the report? I thought it was a fantastic report and much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Ward. We'll move on to 13.3, response to a notice of motion number 314, report on homelessness in the Marlborough Shire. I assume once again Councillor Ward will move that. Do I have any questions before we second it? Do we have a seconder? Councillor Keogh, do we have any dissent? Those in favour? So carried.
Mr Mayor, may I also make a comment? Commending again Nicole Knight, the officer who prepared this report. What was notable for me, if I may have, if you bear me for a moment, 13% of increase in homelessness the last few years, and that's estimated to grow to 32% next by 2036. And in Mirrabul we have we are below the Vic average in public housing. I think the recommendations outlined by the officer were fantastic, and I urge my fellow councillors and everyone involved to try and give this our urgent attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. We'll move on to 13.4, Regional Community Sports Infrastructure Fund Grants Applications. I'm looking in another direction. There's a recommendation on the page. Yes, will you move it to, Councillor? No, just a question. Thank you.
Question. The Mattingly Park Tennis Pavilion is controlled by a group which independent of council. So why are we putting funds towards that? Because it's a $10,000 contribution. Is that the end of council's involvement in this, or in capital OR, or will there be additional impost in costs for council going forward?
Councillor Sullivan, is that for you, Lee?
That's my first question.
Through the chair, the tennis pavilion at Mattingly Park is a council asset. The grant application will be to undertake some planning work in relation to accessibility to that facility, which will provide council with some, I would anticipate, some actions in relation to accessibility at that facility.
Lee, second question.
Secondary question. So fundamentally, it may be a council asset nominally, but we do not control it in the sense it is controlled by a group who have remained independent of council for a very long time, in my view. And now I just find it a little bit difficult to come to grips with that we're doing this. The idea of what it's for is commendable, but should we be using community resources for that? So I do question that.
So the question is that, Lee?
I couldn't hear excuse me, sorry, through the chair, Councillor Sullivan, I didn't quite hear the second question that was asked.
The question is, fundamentally, I'm not undermining what the grant is being sought for, but this group have remained independent of council for all the time I've been on council. They've not had anything to do, never been involved in council. We've said it's our asset, but we've never had anything to do with it.
So the question is, should we be funding?
So through the chair, we are currently working with the Backsmash Lawn Tennis Club in relation to the governance arrangements, so lease licence, etc. That is something that we are looking to tighten up. The funding application, so we have had interest from community more broadly to have access to the facility. And so this funding application would enable us to make some improvements to enable that to occur.
Councillor Sullivan.
Another question. With respect to the upgrade of the application for the Masons Lane athletic track, which is for $1 million for SRV, and yet council's contribution of 1.4, and that's not even exact anyway, because there's it says in the report, subject to confirmation, and yet now we're talking about binding ourselves to 26-27 budget. So I'm sort of concerned when we're actually kicking the can down the road and saying, oh, we'll pick it up in 26-27 budget. So if this grant is successful, we've actually locked ourselves in for a 1.4 million contribution. Albeit a good project, but the process is poor, very poor.
So the question, Councillor Sullivan, will be, should we be putting something on a budget that hasn't been approved? Yes, so who do I ask that? Mr CEO, is that one for you?
Through the chair, I suppose it is for me. I'm happy to take that one. I suppose it's got to do with the grant cycle, is what it's got to do. But Councillor Sullivan is correct. What we're basically saying is as part of this process, you would be allocating funds from a following year budget to this particular project, and that's because we wouldn't be doing the project without the grant funding. So it's a little bit of a chicken and egg one. But I do recognise what Councillor Sullivan is saying, and what he's saying is correct. Is that by default, when we put that application in, we would be committing future funds to that project.
If I may,
Yes.
not wishing to labour on it right here and now, but I think it's a very poor process and one that needs tightening up dramatically, because fundamentally we've been told that we're in some financial, not difficulties, but it's strong headwinds financially going forward, and yet we are glibly committing something to a future budget when in fact that's not how you should do your business.
I'll take that as a statement. Thanks, Councillor. Okay, so we haven't got a mover. We've got a recommendation. Councillor Wood, you're moving it? Do we have a second? Councillor Berry. Do we have any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Can't say I didn't give you the chance. Right, we'll move on to 13.5, Advisory Committees and Council Reports.
Can I
Ward, yes.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, can I move it with a question, please, for Lee? Yes. Lee, as a past council representative on the Mattingley Park CAC, I attended various meetings, and I note that one of the minutes we're putting up for approval today is the minutes from Monday, the 7th of October, where there was discussion about the master plan. Now, obviously, we completed a master planning process for Mattingley Park, and we've now identified that there are going to be issues in delivering what is proposed in that master plan. Can I just get an update on how we are proposing to refresh or revise or revisit that master plan, please?
Through the Chair, so we have been working quite closely with the Advisory Committee in relation to elements of the master plan that once concept design and detailed design commenced, there were some nuances to the plan. We are currently, so there have been a number of proposals that have been discussed with a couple of the users on the Mattingley Park, one being the football, netball, one being cricket. We're still working our way through finding a solution to the questions that have been raised, and an officer's report is currently being prepared. If, in the event that there is a change required to the master plan, then that is something that would be brought back to Council for consideration.
Thank you, Councillor. So we moved by Councillor Ward on the recommendation. Do we have a second? Thank you, Councillor Berry. Do we have any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Righto. We'll move on to the revised Community Asset Committee Guidelines for 2025. Councillor, we've got a recommendation. Councillor Sullivan, yes.
I would move the recommendation with an additional, be it a point or add it to item 3, and my addition would be the operational issues of the guidelines with recommendations for improvement if required, because as it's stated, we're just getting a report on the CACs. I want a review, if required, of the guidelines themselves, or just if required, that's all. I'd just like that added on if possible, please.
So this is Councillor Sullivan's motion, and you'll second it, Councillor Munari. Councillor Ward, question?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you, Mr Mayor. I reviewed the Community Asset Revised Guidelines. There was no mention or no clarity provided about whether the CACs would be eligible to apply for community development or community strengthening grants. Noting that in reading the earlier minutes for other CACs, there was some capital infrastructure work to be done, and there has been discussion in the past about CACs being eligible to apply for community strengthening or community development grants. Will that be the case moving forward, Mr Mayor?
Okay, I'll take that to you, please, Lou.
Through the Chair, the Community Asset Committee guidelines, the purpose of these guidelines is to guide the operations of the Community Asset Committees. In relation to the item that you've raised on the community grants, that will be coming to council shortly as part of the review of the community grants, and we'll pick up that point.
Thank you. So we're moved by Councillor Sullivan, seconded by Councillor Minari. Is there any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Okay, we'll move on to Customer and Corporate Services reports. 14.1, December 24 Quarterly Financial Report. There's a recommendation in the papers, councillors. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Is there any questions? Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Right, we'll go to the Capital Improvement Program, Quarterly Report, December 24. There's a recommendation. Councillors. Councillor Minari, thank you. Moved. Councillor seconded. Councillor Berry. Any questions?
I just have a question.
Yes,
Oh,
Councillor
you go
Sullivan,
first.
then Councillor Ward.
Oh, well, very good.
The racing
Thank you.
lights.
Just I noted that this was for a 6-month period. This is for the period ending December 2024. And where 35% of the project's already completed. I suppose my question is, do we anticipate that they'll be fully completed by 30th of June this year?
Mr Jeffrey, is that for you?
Yep, thank you, Mr Mayor. So the report does highlight some projects that are on hold. Other than those projects, everything is proposed to be completed.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Not in the recommendation nor the attached report, but in the body of the report, it notes that Federation Park has been procured, however, due to cultural heritage approval, construction may be delayed. Was this an election promise some time ago?
Ooh,
This is a two-part question,
Yeah,
actually.
it is.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Oh, no,
Okay.
that's correct, sorry.
Second question is, it's been held up because there need to be a cultural heritage plan study done. Anything within 200 metres of waterway requires it. Why does it take this length of time to not have that work done?
Mr Jeffrey, please.
Well, there's a few reasons for that, Mr Mayor. Probably the first one is the announcement had to manifest into a grant application, which also had to manifest into a design process, so we can't really do the Cultural Heritage Management Plan until we have the design undertaken. So that period of time, plus the time it takes to actually prepare the chimp, leads us to this point at the moment.
Thank you, Mr Jeffrey. Councillor Sullivan?
It's just a prerequisite now, anything within 200 metres of a waterway, you've got to have a cultural heritage plan. It's a given. It's a given. Anyway.
Thank you, I'll take this as a statement. Right, we moved by... sorry, Councillor Ward, we forgot you over there.
That's right, Mr Mayor, thank you. My question was also for Mr Jeffrey, and one of the most common questions asked of me during the election campaign, and whenever I'm walking down the main street, is the challenges we face with our footpaths. We have an absolutely beautiful treescape down the main street, but with those trees becomes difficulties with the roots and the footpaths, and I know other councillors have raised that before. I noticed that on page 131 of the Capital Improvement Program, there is a proposal to do Main Street footpath improvements between Crook Street and Pearce Street. For those who aren't familiar with Bacchus Marsh, that's between the Avenue Bowling Club and the motel. Now, I'm not saying that section of the footpath does not need improvement, but I would think if you asked a lot of the population, there would be more highly populated areas of the footpath that could potentially do with some work. So my question for Mr Jeffrey is, how is that prioritised and above the other areas of the Main Street footpath? Thank you.
Mr Jeffrey.
Through you, Mr Mayor. So it's based on conditions. So that condition of that pavement is quite poor up there. It's sort of paver style footpath. And then I guess in terms of other areas of the Shire, yeah, we do take into account that. And in fact, in the draft Capital Works program, we are proposing next year the Main Street of Bacchus Marsh some footpaths to be funded. And I guess that's subject to adoption of the budget.
Thank you. Councillor Keogh, you have a question.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you, there was a report to be produced on the premature failures on the road pavement that was constructed in Ingliston Road. Has that report come to surface yet?
Mr Jeffrey, please.
Through you, Mr Mayor. So can you repeat that question? Sorry, Councillor Keogh.
Hit the button again, Councillor Keogh. Repeat the question, please.
There was a report to be prepared on the premature failures of some premature failure spots on the construction of the road in Ingliston Road. Has that report been produced yet?
Through you, Mr Mayor, we haven't been requested to do an official report on that, but internally we have investigated some of the issues that have been that have arisen out there, and primarily it's to do with drainage, and there has been some table drain works undertaken in the last couple of weeks actually.
Thank you. I'll just note that there was no official report, so just so we understand that. Okay, any other questions? No? So we're actually moved by Councillor Minari and seconded by Councillor Berry. Do we have any objections? Those in favour? So carried. Okay, moving along. Now, these are notices of motion. We're going to move straight into 17.1. Notice of motion number...
I have a conflict of interest.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. If you could just please close the door on your way, yes. And we'll come and get you. Okay, thanks, Joe. You've got the appropriate paperwork. Terrific. So 17.1 is a notice of motion number 323, and this is a need for an additional state secondary school in the Greater Bacchus Marsh area. And this was produced by Councillor Ward. Do you want to do a preamble?
I'll keep it brief. I've gone into a fair bit of detail there, but this was triggered by an article I read at the end of last year about Learning for Life preparing kindergarten, school and TAFE infrastructure for the future, and I was alarmed to see that there was no mention of Moorabool there. And noting the potential growth or expected growth of Moorabool, I was concerned that there was no mention of a secondary college in the Greater Bacchus Marsh area. And in visiting Baland, I also noticed that people in Baland have raised their concerns. So this notice of motion is asking for us to call on right to the Premier, the Minister for Education, Minister for Regional Development, Member for Eureka and Melton, asking them to consider the future needs of Moorabool Shire and state secondary schools. Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Ward. Councillor Ward's got a motion in place. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Minari. Do we have any objections? Those in favour? So carried. If someone could please get Councillor Berry back in, please. Thank you, Councillor Berry. Righto, we'll move on to... Oh, go. 17.2, notice of motion number 324, which is a turf wicket at Manningley Park. And I'd ask Councillor Taylor to please give us a bit of a preamble.
Obviously, I'd like the council for the motion. Obviously, the council officers prepare a report on the costs to install a turf wicket at Manningley Park and engage with users to understand the needs of the different groups to utilise the park. And obviously, the rationale behind it, the current adopted park master plan does not include the installation of a turf wicket. Representatives from the Bacchus Marsh Cricket Club and Bacchus Marsh Football Club and Netball Club have written to me asking council to consider installing a turf wicket at Manningley Park. Suggested benefits include increased participation in the sport and enhanced players' development and increase in players' retention. Obviously, for the Bacchus Marsh Cricket Club, it's home ground for the last 50 years. For the football club, it removes a concrete hazard for the football club. More opportunity for players to play on turf, attracting players and retention, and opportunity for high-level cricket matches in a well-known setting, and improves and maximises junior development for boys and girls.
Thank you. Obviously, this is to get some costings done, so we'll just keep the motion. That's it's moved by Councillor Taylor. Do we have a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Bingham and Councillor Ward, do you have a question? Or no, sorry. Yeah. Councillor Kerr, you have a question? I'll second the motion. No, I already got one of those. we could do two, but we're not having a sale today. Yes. Do we have any objections? Those in favour? So carried. There's no notice of rescission, so we'll stroll straight into 19.1, the Mayor's report. Any questions? Otherwise, can I have someone please move it? Thank you, Councillor Biggin. Thank you, Councillor Freeman, as a seconder. Those in favour? So carried.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask a question?
Yes.
I was registered to attend, and I apologise I wasn't able to. The Grampians 2025 and the State of Region Forum. How would you describe it? Was it worthwhile, exciting?
Not for me.
Okay.
I don't know, some people might get excited about those things. A bit like fairy floss, really. I'm not really a fan. So, anyhow, not to worry, we know where it is. We'll go straight to council reports. We can start with you, please, Councillor Sullivan.
Just one matter, if I may, with your indulgence, Mr Mayor. I'd like to note the passing of Pat Shanahan. Pat was a former councillor of the Shire of Ballan for 9 years. He was a very community-minded person involved in many community organisations. I attended his funeral at Our Lady Help of Christians Catholic Church at Corribbeat on Tuesday the 25th of February, and there was more people outside the church than inside. You couldn't fit in there. So I think it's just like to remember Pat. He was a great person and also part of the local government scene in this municipality, or its former municipality. So I'd just like to say rest in peace, Pat. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. And of course, those that have met Pat over the journey would all appreciate just what sort of fellow he was and how sadly he missed around that Murnington area. In fact, anywhere you go, you seem to see Pat in that flannelette shirt. And terrific fellow. Yeah, sad, very sad. Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. On Tuesday the 28th of January, I attended the U3A meet and greet. On Monday the 24th of February, I attended a committee meeting of the Bacchus Marsh Platypus Alliance. And on Tuesday the 25th of October, I attended a committee meeting of the Blacksmiths Cottage and Forge. And yesterday I had a tour through the ground floor of the Border Inn and was very impressed with the work that's been done. And they're hoping to have it open in around about a month.
Thank you. Good for economic development. Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Obviously attended the Bacchus Marsh Platypus Society Clean Up Australia Day at Underbank and the Werribee River. Firstly, I'd like to thank Council for obviously removing the last lot of rubbish and providing free tip drop-off, and I'd like to thank them as well for the $50 lunch voucher as well. It was much appreciated. Obviously, in my election campaign, it was one thing that I did stress on a lot, that I was pretty passionate about cleaning it up, so we probably need to arrange one more meeting to probably get the last bit of it, but to all the people that come down there, I really appreciate, for what they did and for the Platypus Society. They were ecstatic with what we've done there. And secondly, I attended the Bacchus Marsh 50th anniversary. They had over 160 people at Mattingley Park, which was fantastic. Obviously, I'd like to say well done to all the committee and all the members for organising it. They had Damien Fleming as a guest host. absolutely sensational, and let's hope for another 50 years.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Minari.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Last week I attended the Coffee with the Councillor session in Balan, which was quite successful, and lots of people came out to chat, which was good. This week I attended the Tourism Midwest Victoria session in Ballarat at Fed Uni. It was an insightful study on where tourism sits in our Western region and what we can learn from and how can we grow our tourism potential. Some studies have been done by some outsourced consultants and professionals, and yeah, it was some good information there. But I actually just want to take this time to celebrate someone in our community, in our Moorabool community. On Monday, Mrs. Betty Tolhurst turned 100 in Gordon. So, and I was very privileged to be invited. Betty's family have been neighbours of mine for over 20 years, and it was very emotional. There was a huge amount of family there, and Betty is a very young 100-year-old, still looking after herself, and she sat there and she read her letters from all of the dignitaries, including the King and Queen, and she read them without her glasses on, which I thought was quite impressive. Everyone was very impressed. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Betty for this week, because I think that's very special, and yeah, I don't think I'll be, well, I would hope that I could go to another 100, but it's something special. Yeah, thank you.
Good on you, Councillor Minari, yeah. There was a time I think the council used to send them flowers. I don't know whether we still do that, but we probably should.
Well, can I...
Just a hint.
I've already had that. Well, I will say I've already had that discussion with the CEO about the fact that, there was lots of... it was all of the letters were there, and then lucky I was there to speak on behalf of council, because there was no letter from council, and so I would love to engage with the state and federal contacts about the process of what they went through to be able to be notified, because obviously they were all notified apart from us. So I would, very much, the CEO's going to look into it for me, so that's good.
We'll run a muck at 101.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Freeman, please.
Thank you. Congratulations to Betty. And what you do is you let your local member know, and they tell everyone. I did it for my mother's 60th wedding anniversary. So that's what you do. And then all those letters just appear, which is great. Yeah. Thank you. Now, in February, I attended my first coffee with a councillor, which was great. It was a terrific meeting with residents, hearing all their issues and concerns. From this session, I spoke to 4 residents, documenting their concerns, and these concerns have been forwarded to council for action. On the 17th of February, I attended the Moorabool Health and Wellbeing Advisory Committee meeting, and I'll just give a quick report. The violence against women in Ballarat have received $10 million from state government to roll out a saturation model following the 3 recent violent deaths in Ballarat. This funding is to drive down the violence, and this will be rolled out in June. The Wellbeing Advisory Committee currently have a survey being conducted to identify the needs of our community. If you haven't completed it, you've got until tomorrow, I think it is, to do that. There are also workshops planned for April, and we encourage residents to attend, and I do encourage councillors to attend. It would be great if you can attend all workshops, but if you could attend at least one, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, just the last issue is Neighbourhood Watch is coming to Bacchus Marsh, Madingley and Darley. I've been involved with the Neighbourhood Watch in the city and the Department of Justice, and we're going to hold the first meeting to get it off the ground on Thursday the 13th of March at the Bacchus Marsh RSL, commencing at 6:30 p.m. All residents who are interested are most welcome to attend. There will be a presentation from Neighbourhood Watch. Mark Sultana from the Department of Justice will be attending, and depending on what is happening on the night, the police hopefully will be in attendance as well. Thank you.
Sorry.
What?
Thanks, Councillor Freeman. Sorry. The light. No. Did something happen? Did I miss it? No. That's all right. That's yeah, we are very animated, very good. So, Councillor Berry.
Thanks.
I'm going back to Councillor Taylor. He was doing a wonderful job. I'm just no good at charades.
Charades. All right, thanks, Mr Mayor. I attended the councillor with a coffee with the councillor, sorry. Now I'm getting all the words mixed up, in February in the Village Shopping Centre in Bacchus Marsh. It was mentioned by several of the residents who attended, they appreciated this access to councillors and would like to see more of it. We recently had a meeting, the Peri-Urban Group of Councils Victoria, a meeting with Mr Michael Sukkar, MP, Shadow Minister for Housing and Homelessness, federal member, I should mention. He has congratulated the Peri-Urban Councils Victoria for advocating so hard because through housing issues and so forth, because if the Liberals get in, they are promising that $5 billion will be awarded to housing enablement. So we congratulated him on this, and if it does happen, if the Liberals get in. However, he turned it around on us because the Peri-Urban Group of Councils Victoria have been advocating very hard into delegations into Canberra. So a pat on the back to Peri-Urban Group of Councils Victoria. On Sunday, the 2nd of March, Clean Up Australia Day. Congratulations to Jodie Valpede from the Bacchus Marsh Platypus Alliance, who organised the clean-up along the Werribee River. It was great to see Councillor Vendetti Taylor also there, donned in his work gear and working tirelessly to pick up all the rubbish. It was fantastic to see so many children also there with their families walking around picking up rubbish that was essentially mostly building material that I feel came out of the development near Fulham Court at Underbank. So yeah, congratulations to all who participated in Clean Up Australia Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll just note that the fires at Bunningong seem to be under control at this stage. So we'll be getting texts all day. We're not doing Facebook, so whatever we're doing. Anyhow, Councillor Bingham, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just quickly touching on what Councillor Berry just mentioned, that today Michael Sukkar with the Liberal candidate for Hawke's, Simone Cottam, did make an announcement in our electorate today, so good job to those guys. I've got two items to report. So 2 weeks ago, along with my many fellow councillors, we attended a tour of the new library. And it's going to be a significant upgrade of the one room that was previously the library. So I think the residents are going to be pretty excited about what's been delivered. So congratulations to Phil and his team and the many subcontractors that obviously make that project a reality. I too, along with my councillors, I attended a hot chocolate with the councillor. I don't drink coffee. I attended that on Saturday, and obviously there was many discussions raised, but ultimately a lot of people were excited that an event like this is actually happens now. So a lot of people would like to see more promotion, so on the socials and things like that, so more and more people can come. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bean. Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As you know, I've flicked you a few questions I'd like to ask. My apologies in advance. My first question is directed to Lee. Lee, during the week, several councillors were invited to a meeting with the Bacchus Marsh Football and Netball Club. The concern is that we have two fantastic ovals out there that are ready for activation.
Yes.
And at the moment, obviously, they can't be activated because of the lack of the pavilions. Now, I understand that we'll be going to tender quite soon, but obviously a bill could take 12 to 18 months. Is there a possibility for Mirrabul Shire Council to consider the use of portables so we can activate those ovals for the coming football season and the following football cricket season whilst the permanent building is built?
Just before we go, I've got a point of order from Councillor Sullivan on these are council reports. This has come up with a question, so I'll allow the question, but we may have to, you might have to reconsider what you've said today. Is that reasonable? Councillor Sullivan?
Sorry, Mr Mayor, it's council reports, more urgent business, that's all. So just where it fits into the meeting.
Oh, right, yes. Where are we? Well, if we get Lee to answer the questions, that one, I suppose. Yep. And it'll be taken on notice, I imagine.
Through the chair, we'll have to take that on notice.
Let's work through it then. The second one, I think, works in with...
Yep.
We've got a notice, or not a notice, we've got an urgent business notice. The Bungaree Rail Trail, is this a question? Yes. Probably should have got Joe to do this. I think I'll allow the Bungaree Rail Trail question, if you could keep it short.
Yep. Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm in regular contact with our friends in Bungaree, and the question they asked is, has there been any progress since the previous update following discussions with VicTrack and the Railway and Tramway Heritage Victoria? And in particular, have we received the cadastral plan, which I don't even know what that is, from VicTrack, that they offered to prepare to spatially map the potential for both uses?
Want to take that on notice?
Through the chair, I'll have to take that on notice.
Okay. The rest is basically a report. So we've got 4, 5 and 6, which is a copy with councillors. And I'll leave it with you. The rest are reports. So thank you. Sorry, Councillor Sullivan.
So the next one was just to say we have had 2 successful community engagement events with a coffee with the councillors, and I see one of the ladies I had a coffee with sitting in the gallery tonight. It was great to get the opportunity to talk to local residents, and we're looking forward to events following in Blackwood, Gordon, Bungaree, Bacchus Marsh Village and the Darley Market. My next one is congratulations to a well-known and highly regarded Balan resident, Pippa Morris. Pippa has been appointed to the Victorian Veterans Council. On the Wednesday, 11th of December, the government appointed 3 new members to the Victorian Veterans Council to continue the state's work supporting veterans and families. The Minister for Veterans announced that Pippa was one of 3 to be appointed. She's a local resident, has extensive ex-service organisation experience and a strong understanding of veterans' welfare issues as the President of the Balan RSL sub-branch and founding member of the Discharged LGBTI Veterans Association. She's held roles in higher education, including as Education Manager at Melbourne Polytechnic, and Pippa was until recently a Lieutenant in the Australian Navy Cadets where she delivered training. So congratulations and what a great honour to Pippa Morris. I also wanted to add my congratulations to the topic raised by Councillor Vendetta Taylor about the Bacchus Marsh Cricket Club 50th anniversary celebrations. As a past player, I would have loved to attend it, but unfortunately I was interstate. And the last one, Mr Mayor, is I also want to note a very sad passing of a very well-known Bacchus Marsh resident, David Still. David was only 63 years old. He was a supporter of many clubs in the community. He was a long-time player of the Bacchus Marsh Cricket Club. And he was that highly regarded in the community. In the year 2000, the Sydney Olympics, he was a torchbearer and carried the torch down the main street of Bacchus Marsh, and his name's on that, the Sydney 2000 Olympics flag in the Mirrabul Shire offices. So David's funeral's this Friday, and have a very sad passing.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Now, Councillor Taylor, you had something?
Basically, I'd like to offer, obviously, with yourself, obviously, your sister's passed away from cancer, Benito. Obviously, at 50 years of age, it's a pretty tough thing to go through, and obviously, as I know when I was speaking to you, obviously going there, taking it to the toilet and doing all those small things towards the end, and you know, my condolences to you and everything you went through, and no one deserves to go through that, and nor do you.
I appreciate those thoughts. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Can someone move the council reports, please? Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Thank you, Councillor Ward. Those in favour? So carried. Thank you. Right. We'll move on to urgent business. If I could start with you, please, Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a question, if I may.
Yes.
And you can they can take it on notice. Given when we're having, well, I haven't attended it, but there's been the council coffee with the coffees. Well, I'll get that right sooner or later. But anyway,
cafe-driven councillors.
If there's more than 4 councillors, it becomes an assembly. Correct. What's the protocol for that? If that were to occur, what should we put in place? You can put on notice. You can get.
Yeah, I could probably answer. I think there's been every time there's been it's been addressed. The councillors have gone and said they've sent out a message to who's going to attend, and set up a roster to make sure that there's never any more than 4 people in the room. Yes.
What I'm saying is that avoids the issue of the assembly. So what I'm saying is if 5 show up, then what is the protocol that we employ that should be put in place?
I think I'll take that to you, Joe.
You can take it on notice if you like.
Through the Chair, thank you for the question. The advice I've given is that there should be a preamble before these coffee with councillors, that it is not a decision-making forum. The councillors are there to listen to the views of the community. We should avoid having sufficient numbers that would form a quorum, and there are issues around assemblies of councillors as well. So that was the advice I've given to councillors. So they should limit the numbers at these coffee with councillors.
Yeah, but that's sage advice. But the reality is if 5 show up, it becomes... So what I'm asking is something written to say this is what should happen if that were to occur. So you're saying a preamble? All I'm asking is something in writing that enables so councillors do not unwittingly get themselves in strife. That's why 5 show up.
Through the Chair, I've actually issued some dot points that were shared by Councillor Ward, and I'm happy to send an advice out actually detailing what issues and what concerns might arise and what to avoid.
Could that be circulated to all councillors then, please? Because I don't think I've seen it.
Absolutely, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor. Anything else? Okay, good. Councillor Kerr. I'm sure you said something. I'm just not sure what it was. so sorry. Must have been the green light. Or was it the electronic, whatever they call it? Councillor Taylor.
Attending the Belland Chamber of Commerce a couple of weeks ago, obviously we seem to be having a familiar kind of theme where the Belland Autumn Festival group was in attendance and basically talking about $16,000 it costs to block off the streets and everything involved in. Obviously, they were pretty much at the point where if they have to pay another $16,000 next year, it's probably at a point where it might not happen. We go to the Blackwood Festival and we've probably got a point where it's going to cost them $8,000 to basically lock down the streets, and basically in previous times we had the CFA looking after that kind of area, and then we run tonight and we've got the Bacchus Marsh Strawberry and Cherry Festival with similar concerns with finances. These events are essential on our calendar. If anything, we should be trying to promote more. So the urgent business and the question would be, what can we do, and can we do more to obviously help these groups?
Well, firstly, we'll have to accept that there is some urgent business, so I'll ask the councillors to, we'll obviously moved by yourself. Someone second that, please. Thank you, Councillor Freeman. Those in favour? As you're aware that if anyone's not in favour of urgent business, that won't be heard. Sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I've got a question, and I feel like Councillor Sullivan's going to ask the same question.
Yes.
Not exactly sure what this urgent business is all about, so maybe...
Well, we have to either accept whether we're going to accept some urgent business or not on that basis, based on the preamble, so that's entirely up to you.
Could it just be recapped as to what the urgent business is, please?
Yes, indeed. Councillor Taylor, could you give us a abridged version or a recap of what the urgent business may or may not be?
Well, within our community, obviously with the festivals and everything that happens, I basically don't want to lose any. And at the end of the day, when it constantly comes down to a financial issue, and obviously these things are imposed, blocking down streets, where once it wasn't a cost, where it now is, the urgent business as per se is the fact that we're in danger of losing all these festivals.
So is there a request in there for a motion, or is there...
No motion. I just want
a letter or a report? Is that what you're asking for?
Well, pretty much a report on it, which I'm happy with, if we throw it into ordinary business.
Right, so I'll try and abridge this. So we're chasing, the urgent business is a report to look into the costs of the current festivals in terms of road closures, etc. So that's the urgent business. So I'll ask, once again, we're moved and seconded. Those in favour of accepting the urgent business?
I'll just ask a question, Mr. Mayor.
You can, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, the governance rules outlines what is and what doesn't go into urgent business. So do any of these festivals or events that are noted are happening anywhere in the next 4 weeks, or can it wait? Can this wait until the next meeting?
We can wait till the next meeting.
Oh.
If you want.
Okay, so we'll withdraw the urgent business, turn it back into a notice of motion. So what we'll have to do, we've moved and seconded, so we're going to have to vote against it. Yeah, so it lapses, so, yeah, because if we hadn't moved and seconded, it'd be all right. So those in favour, obviously nobody, and we'll bring it in at the next meeting. Did that make sense, Joe?
Absolutely, Chair. It actually doesn't meet the definition of urgent business as defined in the governance rules.
Thank you, Joe. What do we do with that, Joe? Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Minari.
No urgent business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Freeman, now you have some urgent business.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Western Health are in the process of looking at reducing the Bacchus Marsh urgent care hospital staff by 1.4 EFT, which will lead to significant negative and unsafe consequences for patient care, safety and overall hospital operations. Bacchus Marsh Hospital was transferred to Western Health in June 2021, and a commitment was given that no job losses would occur. I'm going all over my letters here. In a joint statement released in March 2021, the health services committed to no reductions in overall health staffing numbers and no losses to frontline clinical staff. I have put a lot of other preamble in there for you. There's just another bit I will bring your attention to. Bacchus Marsh Urgent Care is facing increased demands for services, especially with a growing and ageing population, and it is crucial to maintain sufficient staffing to meet these demands. It is anticipated presentations will continue to increase as there is an ongoing shortage of GP services in Bacchus Marsh. The reduction of hospital staff undermines the trust and confidence the community places in our local healthcare facilities. I have given you some percentages and everything in your...
I think we'll save that to see if we can get the urgent business approved first.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah,
sorry.
Otherwise you're actually giving away your debate. So, but no, it's all right. It's a good preamble. It's okay, Councillor Freeman.
Thank you.
Yes, so you're moving it.
I've got a question, Mr. Mayor.
You've got a question, Councillor Bingham.
Yeah, as per the governance rules, is it expected 1.4 employees to be fired in the next 4 weeks, or can we move this to the next meeting?
I don't know,
Thank you.
Councillor Freeman.
Yes, well, actually, in the documents I have received, it is urgent. There is special dates.
I don't want to get into the debate.
No.
So we'll stick to the question as is, verbatim. Is there a risk in the next 4 weeks?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Bingham.
There is.
No, you're right. So I have a second. No, Councillor Ward, question or push button? Just push the green button, please.
Yeah, it's just a question, and I'm not sure if Councillor Freeman was aware. In August 2024, I moved a notice of motion that Council write to the Premier, the Minister for Health, the Chairperson for Western Health and the Member for Eureka, asking that all the commitments that Councillor Freeman outlined be acknowledged and committed to. And on the Council meeting on the 18th of December this year, I asked if any of those 4 had responded. At that stage, it was only the Minister for Health, Mary Ann Thomas, and it was my intention tonight to ask for a further update. So,
Councillor, why don't we ask the question and then we'll ask a question?
Yep.
So have we received notification?
Have we received any further responses asking the government to honour their commitments to our acute care?
Yes.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe we've received a response from Mary Ann Thomas, and that was the only response that I'm aware of at this moment in time.
I want to try and bring this back to, we're just seeing if we're going to allow urgent business here, and we seem to be getting into the actual debate. So, Councillor Bingham, you had a question?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, in light of what Councillor Ward just brought up, have we already written this report?
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into a debate about the urgent business. The question is very simple here.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, sorry, you're going to allow it? Yeah. Well, I only just need a seconder, so, and then we'll see if everybody else wants to allow it. But are you the seconder, Councillor Bingham? You're not, right? Well, let's establish that. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Those in favour of introducing the urgent business? Hang on. That's we're missing one. We're missing 2. So sorry, Councillor Freeman. That'll lay on the table. Could
you?
Councillor Ward.
Put my hand up.
Oh, did you?
Sorry.
Oh.
Well, they all went down. Hang on, let's start again there. Let's put them in the air and make it a little bit easier for this bloke.
Put your hand up.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
So, right, the urgent business has allowed. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I've seen all these other hands up and 2 down. I'm just figuring we're either playing tiddlywinks.
Look, it is...
It's all yours, please.
This is dated, the change of impact statement that I have received is dated the 31st of January 2025, asking, looking at reducing 1.4 EFT. And it has also got the guidelines in it, the time frames are listed here, which means it needs to be done within the month.
What we need is just a quick recommendation so we can move it.
Right, okay.
Otherwise, you give
what I request is that Council writes to Western Health to continue delivering safe patient care at Bacchus Marsh Urgent Care and be in line with the Safe Care Act. The current nursing ratios remain unchanged to accommodate increasing patient presentations. And the letters be sent to Western Health. There were 3 from Western Health who have signed this document to go to each of them, and also to the Premier of Victoria, Member for Eureka, Member for Melton, and the Minister for Health, Mary Ann Thomas. And also Council extends an invitation to Western Health and the Minister for Health, the Honourable Mary Ann Thomas MP, to meet with representatives of Moorabool Shire Council to discuss this urgent matter further.
Thank you, Councillor Freeman. Now, everybody has a copy of this, I assume. They can see the recommendation on the back. We have a mover now. Could I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do I have any dissent? You dissent? So we're going to go into debate. Councillor Freeman, create your debate based on what you have in front of you.
Okay. It's quite obvious. I have received 2 documents through my letterbox. One is comes from Western Health. The other one comes from the staff. And they're saying that the staffing is going to be reduced by 1.4, and that staff is going to move to Melton. By reducing it, they are saying that our presentations at the urgent care facility have gone down, where in actual fact they haven't. And in actual fact, they are saying, staffing is saying, Bacchus Marsh has had in excess of 15,000 for the last year, and they are currently understaffed. Their ratio at the moment is currently 1 in 4 patients, where it should be 1 in 3, which is putting our residents at risk within the hospital. And I'll note that there was an article in the Herald Sun yesterday about Bacchus Marsh Hospital, and hoping that we do not go back to Bacchus Marsh Hospital again.
Thank you, Councillor Freeman. Councillor Beam.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The reason why I did put my hand up in support to hear the urgent business is because Councillor Freeman did assure me that it was in fact urgent. Now, the governance rules are quite clear, and if we taper away from the rules set in place, then that opens up Pandora's box where any councillor can just bring in urgent business anytime they like. We have rules in place for a reason. It was noted 31st of January. We had a month to bring.
We're actually debating about a letter.
Yeah, that's right. So, which is not urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Excuse me, Councillor. Let's get back to the debate about the letter.
Yep. So the reason why I'm objecting, I don't believe it is urgent business.
No, we've been past the urgent business.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm objecting.
We're actually debating whether the letter should be sent off. So if you stick to that, please.
Yeah, as I said, under the governance rules is quite clear, and I'm objecting based on the governance rules being very clear. This is not urgent business. It can wait till the next meeting. Thank you.
Sorry. You can, Joe. You may as well.
Through the chair, that I'm aware of, there has been a vote by council to allow this item as an item of urgent business. The only means by which that could be achieved is by unanimous vote, and I have been witness to a unanimous vote to allow this item. So we've gone beyond allowing the item to be heard in urgent business. It's now a matter of what's before you in terms of a resolution.
Right. And as the chair and the person who controls the meeting, I'm going to bring it to a vote immediately without debate, so which I'm entitled to do. So those in favour? Motion's carried. Problem solved. Right. Now.
Councillor Berry, urgent business.
Councillor Berry, urgent business. Yeah, thanks, Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Berry.
Oh, sorry. Congratulating Sheila there. Well
I reckon if we can get back to the meeting, it'd be fantastic.
I know. Thanks, Mr. I don't have any urgent business. Thank you.
Councillor Bingham, you must have, I'm sure. No.
Clearly, anybody can. I have no urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Bingham, don't. Be careful. Councillor Ward.
Mr Mayor, I urgently want to go home.
Yeah, I should have stayed away, really. All right, so well, that's done with the urgent business. So what we're going to do is have a 2-minute break because Councillor Ward wants to go home. So move to adjourn. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. 2 minutes, clear the gallery. And Councillor Ward seconded, obviously. Those in favour? So carried.